This is Project Management for You.
Are you a solopreneur, individual, or small business owner who struggles with ideas and lacks converting those ideas into reality?
Do you underpromise, afraid you won't deliver?
Learn the least you need to know to start your path of turning ideas into reality and delivering on your promises.
Each episode is designed to help you get things done.
Welcome to Project Management for You with Cesar Abade.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the 18th episode of the Project Management for You podcast series. I am Cesar Abade, your host, and it is great to have you here once again. On this show, on this series, I bring you my conversations with some of the best project managers I know as we try to break down and explain project management to you, so you too can start turning your ideas into reality, delivering on your promises, and getting things done by using project management principles and ideas. Now, this is episode 18th, as I said, so this series is coming to a close in 2 more episodes. And if you like the content, if you like project management, if you have been enjoying the show, and you are a subscriber of the Project Management for You podcast in iTunes or Stitcher or other catalogs, and you'd like to get some more content after this series is done, I invite you to subscribe to the PM for the Masses podcast. And you may not know, but this series here is a little bit of a spin-off of the Project Management for the Masses podcast. That is a weekly show, so it won't be a daily show like this one. And some of you are thanking me for that because I have heard that it is a lot of content to keep up with. But I certainly had a blast doing this. It was a lot of work, but I really had a great time speaking with, these guys and girls who became my friends over time here on the podcast. So, but anyway, PM for the Masses podcast is a weekly show, and I would love to see you as a subscriber of that show when the series is done. Now, if you are already a subscriber of the Project Management for the Masses podcast, then you don't have to do anything. Once the series here is over, things will just go back to the way they used to be before the series started. Now, as you know, because I talk about this every single episode here, I'm also gathering all the insights I'm learning here from my guests, and also my own experience as a project manager to write a book. And the book is called Project Management for You. And I am running a Kickstarter campaign to help me with the costs of self-publishing. And it is there's still about 10 days left on the campaign. And I'm happy to say that the campaign is funded as of right now, but I could still use some help. So if you go to projectmanagementforyou.com before November 1st, 2014, you'll be able to help me by becoming a backer. Even if you can't become a backer, I'd be happy if you would just share the link with your friends, with your network on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook. I'd be very thankful. So again, visit projectmanagementforyou.com for more details. Now, if you have heard me talk about this countless times here and you haven't been to the page yet, even if you don't plan to be a backer, I never mentioned, but there's a video that I created there, and it's a very it took me a long time to create that video because I couldn't come up with the right idea, and in the end I just decided to do something really out of the box and a little bit crazy. So that's all I'm going to say about the video. You have to go to projectmanagementforyou.com to watch it. So and then all the details of the Kickstarter campaign can be found there as well. Now, let's talk about today's show. Today, I bring you my friend and project management expert and soft skills guru, Margaret Meloni, and we will break down project management and explain it to you. Margaret Meloni is a speaker, writer, and teacher who supports project managers with the human side of project management. When she is not teaching, Margaret works to help project managers and other professionals resolve work-related conflict and strengthen their soft skills. Her passion is to help people successfully navigate the workplace peacefully. Peace does not mean avoiding conflict or difficult situations. According to her, it means to handle them calmly and professionally. Margaret Meloni is also a blogger and an author and the community leader at pmstudent.com.
Today's special guest and project manager extraordinaire is up next.
Hello, Margaret. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. And how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing better now that I'm talking to you.
Oh, you're so nice.
I always like the opportunity to talk to you. You're such a positive presence, and I'm glad to have you on my circle of friends and have you on the show again. So thank you for coming.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I appreciate that allow me, that you trust me with your audience, that you let me come talk to them. Thank you. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Of course. So, Margaret, we are doing this series called Project Management for You. And the idea here is because I've seen this in my own life, the power that it's been, I think if it's trapped in the cubicle, project management as a discipline has been developed over the years, and it's been used by corporations to deliver on their promises. And they do it consistently. If you follow, like the Apple keynotes, for example, Tim Cook will stand up on that stage and he'll hold the next iPhone in his hand and he'll say, "You'll be able to buy this on this date," and it's like months away, right? You'll be able to buy this on that date. It's going to cost you this much, and it's going to be available in these locations. And man, they hit it every time. And it's not that they have a lot of money that they can do it. They just know project management. You agree?
They know what they're doing. But okay, now in those examples though, I also think, I always wonder when that happens. I always think, does your team know that that's the date? Because they know now. But they do it. You're right. They use project management to get to that date. Absolutely.
Right. So, and what I realized in my own career and my work in our small business is that there is a lot that we can bring to a personal level of projects that is maybe an adaptation of what companies are doing. So the idea here is to bring project management to the masses with this book and with this series. So, in your opinion, in your way of thinking, how would you define project management to the layperson?
At first I was thinking, oh, it's a process we use with tools and techniques. And I was like, no, I don't want to say that. I would define project management as an approach that we use or can use to successfully take something that is a goal or something that we want to accomplish, and we use this approach to organize ourselves in a way that we're going to accomplish this goal. And so the things we do from the beginning to the end to make sure that we really accomplish that goal, those things that we're doing, those are all parts of project management.
Very good. So
I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. So
okay, good.
So can you give us an example of maybe a project?
Well, okay. What about a family reunion? Because we want to talk about things that we're doing in our personal lives, not necessarily at work. Okay, so let's say someone your best friend, is thinking about a family reunion and thinking, gosh, our family doesn't do that. Other families do. What a great idea. Okay, now that isn't just something that your best friend does as part of his everyday life, right? So it's special. And so, that's also what makes it a project, because the things we do every day, whatever, going to work, going to the store, feeding our family, cleaning up, that's just everyday stuff we do. But when we have something come along like a family reunion, that is a project. Depending on the size of your family and where they all are, that could be a big endeavor. And so that is a project that I think we could think about in our personal lives, where we could use a special approach to make sure that it becomes more than just I think we should have a family reunion, to having a really nice family reunion.
So that would be what in corporations would call it a project as opposed to operations, correct?
Exactly.
Operations is the ongoing day-to-day manufacturing of things, or as you said, the household example. Going to the
grocery store, that's operations. Me making dinner, that's operations. I cook, he cleans. So when he does the dishes, that's operations.
Yeah. Well,
He might feel like it's a project because I'm a messy cook, but
right.
whatever.
Or some special dinners might be a project because it's more involved than.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Dinner, just the family versus a sit-down dinner party for 15 people. That's a project.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very good. Very good. So,
Okay.
all right. So talking about the project management, then, what is the least people need to know about project management so they can start on this path of let's say getting that family reunion done?
Okay. So I think it's more than one thing.
That's fine.
But I think, because it's really hard for me to distill this.
Make it simple as possible, but not simpler.
Okay, great. Thank you. This is what I think. I think you need to know what you want to do. So in a sense, that's the scope of your effort. So what do I want to do? I want to throw, let's say, or your best friend, I said earlier, but I'll just say me now. I want to throw a family reunion. And what does that mean? Because a family reunion could be, at the end of the day, my husband comes home, we're family, that's a reunion. Or it's, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, their children, any grandparents that are still around, extended family. So what is really the scope or the definition of my family reunion? So I need to know what I really want to do. And then I'll say at a minimum, and I like that you kind of say on the path of getting things done, because I believe I would at least need to map out from my scope a path that I need to follow to get from this thought in my head to an actual family reunion. And I think of it as, a schedule with a critical path, because I need to do the right things in the right order or we're never going to have a family reunion.
Okay. Explain to us what a schedule and what a critical path is.
Okay.
For those who don't know.
Thank you. So when I'm talking about a schedule and a critical path, I'm talking about taking steps in the correct order at the correct time. And so, for example, let's say that the family reunion is going to be in a park. Okay. Now, I could go ahead and call everybody a week before and say, meet in this park next week. I could. But it's possible that might not allow enough time for people to plan, for people to travel if they don't live in the same town with me. And if I'm telling them just meet me in the park, maybe there's something I should have done, which would be to reserve a space at the park, because let's say I have 100 people. So maybe what I should have done is maybe the schedule and the order of things would be to find out who in the family is interested, set an approximate time, then set an exact date, then find a park, reserve the space in the park, confirm back to people, yes, we are having this on August 9th in such and such park. And I'm going to just stop and see if I'm making sense before I continue.
No, you are.
Is that making sense?
Yeah. So maybe brainstorm the steps and then sequence them in a way that makes sense, and then see which ones need to be done at a specific time. And it's like they call like a hard landscape type of event. If you need to book the park, you need to do that with the so let's say 2 weeks in advance, and that's like a requirement.
Yes.
So you know that needs to be done by this date, and then you kind of rearrange the other tasks based on that. Is that what you're trying to get to?
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. Because if it's, okay, so let's say it's the morning of. So let's say that we did pick August 9th. And so it's August 9th, and I do have the park reserved, and I did let people know ahead of time, and they're showing up. And another thing I decided is I wanted to feed everyone, and I want to have it catered. And I don't start making the phone calls until I get up on that morning of August 9th to call caterers to come make lunch. Probably we're not going to have lunch.
Right.
Because I'm not doing it in the right order. I'm not thinking it through as terms of what has to happen first, what has to happen next. And now, to make it even more complicated, what if I do get someone to come, but it's really expensive and I didn't tell any of my family and I'm not paying for it? That'll be the last family reunion.
Yeah. Wow.
There you go. So hopefully that's kind of addressing that.
Okay. Yep. So
Good.
so defining the scope, defining exactly what that looks like, and then coming up with some sort of list of what needs to happen and sequence them, and then
Exactly.
and then putting them on a timeline and
Yes.
having in mind the dependencies there.
I love that. Thank you with your help with that. Yes, and then you can work through the list.
Okay. Very good.
Exactly.
All right, so let's say that's a great place to start. I mean, if people would just do that, I think it just brings clarity, and they know exactly what they need to be working on one thing at a time. That assumes that one thing comes after the other, type of a waterfall type of. But I think it's a great start because as you know, there are things that can be done in parallel.
Right.
And especially if you have other people helping you with the planning and the execution, right? But I think
Well, sure,
yeah.
absolutely. Like if you're doing it, like if I was doing it and one of my cousins was helping me, then once we got to a certain point, and we had the park reserved, my cousin could be helping coordinate the invitations while I was coordinating the catering.
Yes. All right. So and this example is perfect because I always say that project management has to do with bringing an idea to reality, right? So what are the stages of let's say bringing an idea to reality? I mean, you gave us a very good introduction to the least people need to know to start on this path, but do you see it as a series of stages that will take you from nothing, from just an idea in your head to actually the end of the party?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's think about that. So first in this situation was just the idea of it would be nice to have a family reunion. So that's like just the birth of the idea, if you will. Then after the birth of the idea, I would say would come the acceptance of the idea. That perhaps, I would take this idea out of my head and start vocalizing it to other people. Hey, I think we should have a family reunion. What do you think? And I'm looking for, I'm looking for buy-in. And if everyone says no, that's dumb. We all hate each other. No, that's sad. That's not a very positive thing. I'm sorry. No, we don't want to have a family reunion. Then it's going to stop there.
Yeah.
But assuming that's not the case and everybody says, yes, that's a great idea. So I've, looked for buy-in. I've kind of shopped the idea around. Then the next stage, so we've got acceptance. So we have the idea is born, then we have acceptance of the idea. Now I need to plan the idea. Because if me just talking around saying we should do that and everyone saying, yes, we should, it's not going to happen. Somebody has to take it and run with it, which means we need to come up with the plan. So make that list, like you were saying. And as part of making that list, we also have to put some more definition into what does it mean? What does it look like? How much would it cost? That type of thing.
Right.
So that would be maybe taking the planning and really hammering out what does it look like. So in other places we would call that scope. I don't know that we want to call that scope here.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's fine.
Visit or definition of the reunion.
Yeah,
Definition.
No, it's good
scope,
to say.
okay?
It's good to mention what it's called in the project management lingo as well, because I'm talking to different guests, and sometimes that's the connection between the two interviews.
The thread.
Yeah,
Oh,
the thread.
okay.
So scope I think makes sense. It's a good word, and you defined it already. So let's use that from now on.
So we have our idea, we have acceptance, we have the scope of it, we have the planning of it. Now we need to do it. So now we need to spring into action mode and make the reunion become a reality. And then after the day of the reunion, we might have some kind of follow-up. What do you think? Should we do it next year? What should we do differently? Did you like the food? Was the location okay? Do you want to hold it in your area next time? So we could have some kind of follow-up.
Right. So defining.
So that took it beyond reality.
No, that's good. I mean, it's lessons learned type of thing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you define your scope and you talk about it with those involved, and then you come up with a plan, and then you execute it, and then you look back. Very good. Three stages.
Yeah, there you go.
Or
Thank
four
you.
stages, I guess, if you count the last one as well.
Now, you see, you're really helpful in taking what I'm saying and helping it make sense. So I really appreciate that.
It's a hard thing. I keep thinking in my head about, bringing project management to the masses. It's almost like a birth, It's painful sometimes, but I think in the end you have a beautiful thing.
That's a great analogy. And I think, as I'm thinking of different people, that it is also about maybe building an awareness that we can use this and it doesn't have to turn into work. It can just make your life easier.
Right.
And I say that because I will just tell you one that as we're having this conversation, I am picturing somebody that I was in a class with one time. And I asked this woman, she said she wanted to do something, and I asked her about her plans to do it. And without hesitation, she looked at me and she said, "I'm not going to project manage my life." And I was like, whoa. And we didn't talk very much because we were not a good fit for one another. Because that was her take on it, was like she wanted something to happen. I felt like she wanted this thing, but she didn't want to plan it because she felt that was over planning her life. And it comes to mind now because as we talk about bringing project management to the masses, I guess I want people to understand that project management is a good, useful thing. Like, don't think of it as like overthinking or over planning or, micromanaging your life. It's just helpful.
I see it as an antidote to overthinking because everybody has ideas and dreams, and they want to. I read this the other, I forget where, but they say the richest place on earth is the graveyard. That's where a lot of people take their ideas and they never take any action because they overthink. They think it's too hard, it's too complicated, but everybody has a dream. And I think project management kind of frees you from overthinking. Okay, well, I have this idea and now I have a system and a technique I can rely on to actually turn it into reality. So you're limited by what you can dream and not by the process. Do you agree with that?
That makes sense to me because sometimes, when I'm teaching, people will say things like, "Oh, it seems like this is taking away all our creativity," and no. The point of project management is not to take away your creativity. It is to free up your brain to spend your time solving the problems you should solve.
Yes.
I don't think that every day I should solve the same problem over and over again. Like at work, I don't think every week you should figure out how to create your status report. That should just be a template and a process, and all you do is say, "What do I say this week?" Bam, I'm done. You shouldn't have to redo it every week. Your brain cells should be used on the content and what you're doing to talk about, not how to do it. So I do agree with you about that.
Very cool. Now, Margaret, you are, as you call yourself, I think you call yourself the community leader at pmstudent.com. So you are almost in the business of teaching project managers or project managers, people who want to be project managers, teaching them techniques and different things. I know you have a product on the work breakdown structure. We can talk about that if you'd like. But so you are familiar with the techniques that are out there when it comes to project management. Now, if you could recommend one of these techniques to the listener, what would it be and where can we learn about it?
Okay. I have a really hard time narrowing it down to one, but I know you're going to help me. I think for a person who is using project management in life, outside of work, to help with things like, say, the family reunion, that taking that list and sequencing it can be one of the most useful things because you know what to do and when to do it. And then you don't have to worry about missing something or doing things out of order. And so in a sense, that's scheduling.
Right.
And I mean, certainly you can take scheduling classes. And, I have been thinking about this. And so I don't know if a scheduling class is necessary, maybe. Or if somebody jumped into a scheduling class, I don't know if it would make sense. There is something I wanted to talk about that is a book recommendation. And it's not my book. To be honest with you, I don't know the authors of this book, so this is not a plug that I am making money off of. But there's a book. It's called Project Management Light.
Okay.
Just enough to get the job done, nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a really good start. It's by a person named Juana, Juana, Clark Craig. And I just recommend it because I think that it is super useful for beginners. And I think that it is still written with the idea of you're using this at work. But because it is really project management light, and they even have like a Zen-like photograph on the cover, I think that that's a good start.
Juana Clark Craig?
Yeah, Juana Clark Craig, PMP, Project Management Light. Just enough to get the job done, nothing more. That's the title. And that's why I think of that, because it's like, well,
Yeah.
And of course, that book has more than one technique. So I know I'm still cheating on this answer.
No, that's fine.
Because
no, that's and I think that's where I would start as well, is try to break it down as much as possible into we like to say deliverables, like nouns instead of verbs, but even if you manage to break it down into tasks right away, that is already helpful, I think.
Yeah.
And then sequencing them and looking at how long that's going to take, and it just brings clarity and it gives you a checklist, a plan. Okay, I'm going to need to do this little thing today and not think about the big picture necessarily. Sometimes we don't have the mental bandwidth to deal with the complexity of it all, but we can work on a task.
And it gives you, I think so, and it provides a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess I just have observed that sometimes when I think people are taking on projects in their personal lives, like say if it was, the family reunion, I think sometimes where people get tangled up, if you will, is in not doing the right thing at the right time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they get frustrated because it doesn't work. So for example, if I'm going to the printer to find out about the cost and about invitations, but I don't know what to say on the invitation yet, I'm spinning my wheels.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I don't need the invitation yet. I don't even know where it's going to be or when. Mm-hmm. And so, but I see people get a little tangled up like that in their personal lives with personal project work.
Mm-hmm. Even at work too.
Yes, that's true. We work with people like that too. We have them on our teams. We try to give them direction.
Yeah, sometimes it's us.
Well, okay, yeah. Yeah, especially like stressed.
Yeah.
If I get stressed, I have to kind of stop, take a break, and then go back and look at the priority and go, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do right now.
Right. All right, that's very good. Now, Margaret, let's talk about people here for a second. Your example there, you're going to have to... It's a perfect example because it's going to involve your family. So there are going to be people who will be just invited to show up. Other people have to be recruited to help. You might have to hire a caterer. You may be doing this for your mom. So she's paying for the whole thing. And you need to... So let's say working with people. What is the best way to know, for example, to delegate? I like to use this because it's something people struggle with. What's the best way to know when and what to delegate, and maybe to compel your family members or people involved in the project to collaborate with you?
It's hard, isn't it? I think it's hard. Okay, in this example, with this family reunion, if it was me, what I really need to pay attention to is what is the difference between something I personally need to do versus something that needs to be done but not done by me. And we have to be really honest and be honest about the things that we want to do. So there could be things on the list that I don't have to do, but I want to do. For example, maybe I don't have to pick the invitations, but I like to pick invitations. And if that's what I like to do, then I need to be honest about that. However, if I don't have to do it and me doing it is going to cause us to miss the deadline, for the printer, then I should be delegating it. I should be delegating it. So if I don't have to be the person, and I don't bring any, and this is hard to take. If it's a test that I don't bring anything special to, then that's hard because, of course, we all want to think, but I'm me. I bring special things to everything. I bring the magic touch to the entire reunion. And you know what? No, I don't. There are things I'm better at than others. And I just care that at the end of the day, it's a good event. And if I'm not great at coming up with games and activities, I should step off and delegate that to someone else and know that there will be games and activities.
Mm-hmm. I think it's Chris Ducker. He talks about hiring virtual assistants, and he likes to put tasks into 3 categories. One is things only I could do, things I shouldn't do, and then things I don't want to do.
Yes, yes. And then does he talk about the category of, or another way to think about it, now this doesn't apply for home projects, but does this bring in income? Because one of the things I have to think about in my own business, because I do have a couple of people who help me, is if I'm doing this, is it earning money for me? Because if it's not, why am I doing it? Unless it's a thing only I can do.
But if you, I guess. But maybe that's not a matter of delegating. It's just a matter, is this worth doing at all? Not just by me, but at all, right?
Well, that's true. But say like, maybe I might, pardon me if I'm getting off topic, but so like with my blog, I believe I should write it myself because it's my voice, my opinion.
Right.
But I don't have to be the person who cuts and pastes it onto the actual web page.
Okay. But that needs to be done for the blog to be published, right?
So I will write it because it will come from me because I want it to be my voice. But then I will ask my fabulous person I work with, I will send it to her and say, will you please put this up on the blog? Yeah.
That's a good example. It's she's doing, or he or she's doing something that would fall into the, you shouldn't be doing that.
Exactly. There's no reason for me to do that. Yeah. Part of me might think like, oh, I should know how to manipulate the website. And the other part of me is like, well, let it go. That's not what you do for a living.
Yeah. People don't read your blog because of your ability to code HTML.
Exactly.
They read it because of the content, right?
We hope. Yeah. But anyway, that's the example. So it's it can be difficult because we have to have very honest conversations with ourselves, I think, about what we should let go of.
Very good.
And beyond, I'm sorry, I have to say one more thing. Yeah. We have to be honest about when we are being controlling versus when we're being honest. Because there's a difference between something I have to do because I like to be a control freak versus something I have to do because I have the expertise to do it.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes it's just easy to say, it's easier for me to do it. It's gonna be faster, and just could do it myself. And I want it done right. Right.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of pride there, a little bit of control. When maybe it's you're better off delegating that and taking that off your plate, so you can focus on what it is that only you can do.
Yeah, especially if done right means my way.
Yeah.
Because my way isn't right. It's just my way.
Yeah.
I just think it's right. Anyway.
Yeah. I saw a T-shirt the other day that says, "It's not that I'm always right. I just have better ideas."
Oh, I love those. Some of those T-shirts are so funny.
I know. Very good. Now,
great.
Margaret, this was great. A great introduction to project management, and I think the listener can actually take this and start applying right away. So that's very very good, actionable, the way I like it. Now, do you have a final thought for the listener who wants to learn and use project management to turn that idea that they have for a product, for a service, for a new business, for whatever it is, into reality?
Okay, I think if you are a person who is truly want to take this, I'll say, beyond the casual use, definitely pursue some kind of starting point, some kind of education, whether it's the Project Management Lite or you go and take an introductory class. If you're not sure yet, then I would say take something that you're working on in your personal life and give a try to the various tools and approaches that I know other people are talking about in this particular series. So give it a try. Come up with your idea. Decide if you're going to move forward with it. Define it more fully. come up with your list, sequence your list, and begin working on it. So I think the best thing to do is jump out there and try.
Awesome.
Good.
Very good. Margaret, thank you so much for your time. If people want to learn more about you and what you do and the awesome content that you provide, where should they go?
They can come, I asked them to come visit me on pmstudent.com.
And you do offer resources there for people who want to learn some of these techniques.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I had you on the PM for the Masses podcast, and we talked about the work breakdown structure, which is a tool or a technique you could call to actually help you come up with the tasks, right? That you can later sequence. So
absolutely,
that's a good place to start as well. So
I
will put a link to that product on the show notes for this episode, as well as the book and the links to your blog.
I think that's a good idea. That's great.
Very good. Margaret, thank you so much for your time again. It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Project Management for You, breaking down project management and supplying you with tips, advice, and simple steps to turn your ideas into reality. Learn more at projectmanagementforyou.com.
All right, so that was my chat with Margaret. Margaret is a delightful person, as you can tell. I feel blessed to have her in my circles. She's a gem. She's always willing to help. She's a backer of the Project Management for You campaign. And she didn't have to. I mean, she's already given me so much here by being a guest and sharing her knowledge with me and you. And she still went ahead and supported the campaign there. So thank you, Margaret, for always supporting what I do and supporting our community here at PM for the Masses and Project Management for You. And if you enjoy what Margaret had to share and what the content has been here, and you'd like maybe a step-by-step approach to using project management to start turning your ideas into reality and delivering on your promises and getting things done, head on over to projectmanagementforyou.com and consider backing this project if you're listening to this before November 1st, 2014, which is rapidly approaching. Now, if you're listening to this episode past November 1st, 2014, you can still go to projectmanagementforyou.com and you'll be able to get a copy of the book there. So that's what I had for you today. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoy my talk with Margaret Meloni, and I will speak to you again next time. And until then, remember that life is a project and you are the manager. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you for listening.
Tune in next time for more inspiring interviews and key information to help you get things done.
Want to learn more? Go to projectmanagementforyou.com and order Caesar's book, Project Management for You.
Your path of turning ideas into reality starts now.